So we got coaching changes. We're hearing this news about Belichick. Did he sign in North Carolina?
Press conference today, showed up wearing Tar Heel blue gear. Bill Belichick not going back to the NFL. Bill Belichick, 5 years, $50 million to run the entire football operation. He answers to himself in Chapel Hill. Head football coach. He immediately hires longtime NFL general manager Mike Lombardi. Mike Lombardi will be his GM at North Carolina, run the transfer portal, the NIL, and the business side of operation. The question, why would he do this, never having been in college football at least for a quarter of a century? He grew up, obviously. His dad was at Annapolis at Navy. His dad was an assistant in North Carolina. He's been on those campuses, but why would he do this? End of the day, I was told he was offended by the way he was treated last offseason after they announced the separation from the Patriots after the 6 Super Bowl rings and the unbelievable number of victories, that he was offended that he only got one interview. And then he was told in the interview, you can't be the general manager, you can only be the football coach. And nobody else called him. And evidently, he's been bothered this season while he's done his media TV gig that not a lot of people have been real positive about Bill Belichick being a candidate to interview for one of these openings. It's coming up or is currently open in the NFL. I think his reputation preceded him, and I think that's the big issue. His reputation was he was a winner. His reputation was, though, that he was a power broker. And his reputation is he had to have everything done his way, his whims, his right to make every decision. And then, in the aftermath of Belichick and all things New England, he left behind a wreckage of 7-23. That's the Patriots' wreckage and their record since he vacated New England. And since the Tom Brady days, New England has seen absolutely nothing positive happen. So you got Belichick, North Carolina. The other piece of the story is New England rumblings that they're going to fire Jared Mayo after 1 year on the job, that this is misery. They're 4-13 last year. They could be 4-13 this year. They might not win a game the rest of the season. And the report is that they want to talk to the guy on the left, Mike Vrabel. Legendary coach, did a great job at Tennessee. Vrabel wants back in. He's been a consultant this year around the league for teams looking for ideas on defense. Vrabel to New England sure looks like it could happen. By the way, Vrabel played there.
Yeah.
Vrabel was very much respected by Robert Kraft. Vrabel was a fan favorite of Bill Belichick, of the departed coach. So, John, send his mail to the 714 area code, or 704 area code.
The area code expert, that's you.
Yeah. Charlotte, North Carolina. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. You shocked Belichick would do this?
I am. I mean, because I figured there was no way he was going to go back to college, because he wanted the NFL gig. But maybe to your point, all the doors are closed in the NFL. There's only 30 jobs, for heaven's sake. But it is kind of cool that North Carolina, you think of them as a basketball school, and they're saying, hey, we're going to be big in both sports, and they're just going all in on Belichick. But he's going to be there on a 5-year deal. That'll take him into his late 70s, right?
He's 72 right now.
72. Wow. I mean, the other angle to this is, Bill Belichick likes the young ladies, and there's going to be a lot of students there. So hopefully he can stay in his lane, and be a well-behaved citizen. But I don't know. I know if I'm a football player, do I want to play for Belichick, or do I want to go to one of the hot, college coaches like Dan Lanning?
Here's the issue. The culture of the NFL. Belichick did an interview early in the week. He said, we're going to devise a culture at Chapel Hill that'll be like an NFL franchise. We will teach these players. We will coach these players. We will guide these players. We'll give them the skills. We'll give them the ability to make the right decisions, and we'll prepare them if they're good enough to play pro football, if not good enough to go into corporate America once they get their degree. So that's the flag that they're going to present to every recruit. This accomplishments, he'll get you ready for life in football or life after football. That's interesting. The second thing to pay attention to is everybody is looking at what happened in Boulder, Colorado, what Neon Dion did, and what the success that Colorado football's had. And they're of the opinion that if this guy could come from the NFL, granted he's a different character, if he could come and have that success, maybe this guy with his philosophy and all his life's experiences, doing it his way, could be equally successful at North Carolina. Now, that being said, I don't think the hoodie's going to show up wearing sunglasses or bling or cowboy hats.
Right.
But Bill Belichick running all things North Carolina.
The other name we talked about a few weeks ago was Ray Lewis.
Yes.
And that he was thinking about going back. Was it FAU? I think he wanted to be the coach of.
All those jobs have been filled. He didn't get an interview, but maybe that's because he's not been involved in any coaching infrastructure anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just take a guy like that and just plop him in. I do like the fact that Belichick's bringing in, the general manager to run all the NIL transfer portal stuff, because that's complicated. And you're constantly negotiating deals with your current players, trying to keep them and also trying to attract new ones. There'd be no way Belichick could do that and also run the offense and defense of the team.
And, the other factor, in the NFL, I'm going to look at all these free agents. You are a street free agent. Maybe you make my team as a special teams player, and I can bring you in and I can work you out and I can sign you. Or if I don't like that guy, I can release him and put you on the practice squad and then get you on the active roster. College football is not that way. Your players are your players. When you go to camp, this is what you have. You're not going to be trading anybody. You're not going to be cutting anybody. There's no free agents coming in off the street, off the waiver wire. So that's a different culture. The other factor, being an NFL player is like a 12-hour-a-day commitment in that building, meetings, treatment, staff meetings, position meetings, videos. In the NCAA rule book, page 11, right beneath the coffee stain, these are the number of hours you can have access to your players. And that's all there is. So that whole methodology of how do I teach them and how do I get them ingrained, their hours are much more limited because these kids are across campus doing academic things too. So that's going to be different for Belichick than the Belichick way in Foxborough was. You're going to be here at 6 a.m., pal. And if we cut you loose by 4:30 in the afternoon, good. But you're going to be here. You can't have that in college football.
Well, they're going to still have very demanding schedules, yes. Right? And you don't show up late for a Bill Belichick meeting. If you're on time, you're late. So, I'm just fascinated about how North Carolina is really just going all in, on Bill Belichick. And to me, like you say, he answers to nobody. I mean, clearly answers to the president of the university, and I would assume the AD.
The board of trustees was split as to whether to do this, but they got it done.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So this could turn into a great thing in college football, or it could be just a complete disaster.
Well, everybody saw it happen in Boulder with Coach Prime. But
Coach Prime brings some electricity. Yeah. He brings some personality. Bill Belichick is just like an old grumbling man. No offense.
Did you read my column that I wrote today?
Yeah. Tobacco Road.
Belichick on Tobacco Road. Mm-hmm. If you're a football fan, you got to go to my website. It's posted there right now. You will love it. Or maybe you'll hate it. I don't know. But I wrote a full-length column about the hoodie going to Tobacco Road. So check that out, my one man's opinion column on the website. John, we got so